All right. We've gained access to a file that's, frankly, unlike anything we've handled before. Consider this essential listening, a critical operational briefing. Forget history for a moment. This is about immediate hazard containment.
That's right. We're looking at item hashtag SCP-009. Official object class is Euclid. The technical term you'll see is anomalous hydrological conversion, but operationally, everyone just calls it red ice.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the danger isn't subtle, it looks a lot like water, right? But fundamentally, it operates in reverse. It completely inverts basic thermodynamics.
Precisely. Temperature affects its state in the opposite way to H2O. And the real problem starts when it encounters any normal water. The potential consequences are, well, they're severe.
So boots on the ground, what's the first thing someone sees? The file mentions about aerators. Looks like water, you said, but...
But it has this unmistakable bright red color, always. Doesn't matter if it's liquid, solid, or gas.
Yeah.
It's always red. That's your immediate visual confirmation before any instruments get involved.
And the core issue is this physical paradox.
Exactly. Normal water freezes at 0 degrees C, boils at 100 degrees C, SCP-009. It's liquid between -100 Celsius and 0 Celsius. A huge range of cold.
Right, so if you put it in a regular freezer, say -18°C, it just stays liquid, a cold red liquid.
Correct. But warm it up above 0 degrees C. That's when it turns solid, instantly crystallizes into this, well, red ice.
And the other end, below -100.
Below -100 C, it does something else entirely. It vaporizes, turns into a gas, kind of like steam and the, super cold steam. It defies standard phase transitions completely.
Yeah, that's broken physics. It doesn't sound like something that should exist here. Was there any speculation on origin?
Well, atomic analysis shows it's basically H2O.
Yeah.
Structurally identical almost. But there's a variance, something redacted in the files, that violates standard enthalpy laws.
Yeah.
Dr. Erna had a theory.
Which was?
That it originates from another reality, a universe operating under different physical laws. Xenospatial physics, essentially. It's like it brought its own rules with it.
Okay, so if its stability is inverted, containment must be all about temperature control.
Absolutely. The special containment procedures are incredibly strict. The number one rule, the one everyone must know, do not let SCP-009 get warmer than 0 degrees C, ever. Unless it's a controlled test.
0 degrees, that's the absolute danger line. The files say it's kept in a sealed tank. Heat-resistant alloy, at least 2 meters cubed.
Yes, but the tank itself isn't enough. The critical part is the cooling. The protocol demands no fewer than 3 independent, redundant cooling units running constantly.
3 units. Okay.
Yeah.
What's the target temperature range then?
We aim to keep it stable between -30 and -25 degrees Celsius. That gives us a decent buffer below the 0 degree threshold.
But what if something goes wrong? Power failure, unit malfunction. Even with 3, things happen.
There's an emergency protocol. If the internal temperature climbs to -5 degrees Celsius, so still below freezing but getting close, the chamber automatically locks down.
Locks down how?
Total seal. And then it's flooded with cryocoolant
Immediately.
until the temperature is forced back down into the safe range. Speed is everything there to prevent it solidifying inside the tank.
And the precautions around the containment area, they sound intense.
Oh, they are. A 30-meter radius exclusion zone. No water-based solutions permitted inside. Nothing. Not cleaning fluids, not drinks, nothing.
And testing.
Testing requires extraordinary measures. It must be done in a total vacuum environment. Personnel need full environmental suits, like astronauts basically. And afterwards, mandatory dehydration procedures for everyone and everything involved, plus a 12-hour quarantine.
Dehydration, they're literally trying to remove every last molecule of stray moisture.
You have to. The risk of contamination is just too high.
Which brings us to the contamination itself. That's the real nightmare fuel here, isn't it?
It is. What's fascinating here is, well, fascinating in a terrifying way, is how it transmits its properties. The exact mechanism isn't fully understood, but it works on basically any aqueous solution it touches.
So like normal water, obviously. Ice, steam.
Yes. Ice, steam, tap water, seawater, even things like tea, fruit juice, and crucially, blood.
Blood, right. How fast does this conversion happen?
It varies a lot. Depends on the volume, the temperature. Direct contact could be as fast as 3 minutes, or it could take hours if it's a large volume or indirect exposure.
The files mentioned D-class testing, mapped out the effects on humans. Discontinued now, thankfully.
Yes. The results were conclusive and horrifying. They identified distinct stages. Stage 1 is just initial contact. It starts assimilating surface moisture, sweat, saliva. The subject just feels a little warm where it touched them.
And that warmth is the trigger, isn't it? Their own body heat pushing the contact point above 0 degrees C.
Precisely. Which leads immediately to stage 2. surface conversion. That anomalous red frost starts forming on and in the skin. Subjects described feeling these tiny, sharp crystals growing inside them.
Ugh. And stage 3.
Stage 3 is deep tissue conversion. The reaction becomes runaway. Body temperature rises exponentially, driving the conversion deeper, faster through the entire system. Blood, organs, everything starts to crystallize.
The files mentioned they remain conscious for a long time.
That's the particularly brutal part. Because the blood solidifies internally into this red ice, it actually prevents massive hemorrhaging. There's minimal external blood loss. So the subjects, they stay alive and aware while their insides turn to crystal. Reports indicate consciousness for up to 12 hours.
From 12 hours. And stage 4.
Stage 4 is just listed as data expunged. Given stage 3, we probably don't need the details. The first 3 stages paint a clear enough picture of why that 0-degree line is non-negotiable.
Let's talk about where this stuff came from. How did the Foundation even find it?
It was retrieved back in 19 November 5th, up in Alaska. The initial report came from a local native Alaskan tribe, the tribe. They found seal hunters, or what was left of them.
Described as mangled and encased in red ice.
That's the description. The cold environment there, ironically, probably made things worse for the victims, even if it helped contain the substance initially.
How so? Worse.
Because the ambient temperature was well below 0 Celsius, it actually slowed down the conversion process. Remember, it needs temperatures above 0 to solidify efficiently. So the cold Alaskan air retarded the freezing.
Meaning it took longer for them to fully convert, extending that conscious stage 3 period you described?
Exactly. It likely prolonged their awareness of the internal crystallization by potentially hours until data expunged.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, connecting that local tragedy to the global risk. The addendum mentions the retrieval site was just rock, dry rock.
Yes, critically, it was barren, dry terrain. Not near the coast, not near a river. If that initial exposure or whatever caused it had happened closer to the ocean or even a large lake,
If contamination would have spread.
the file is explicit. There's little doubt an extinction-level event would have ensued. It would have started converting the water body, and from there, it's almost unstoppable.
That close call must have shaken things up. Did they consider upgrading it to Keter?
Absolutely. There was a formal review. Given its potential to contaminate global water sources, Cater seemed logical. But interestingly, the O5 Council decided against it. There's a memo dated January 9th, 20 era.
And the reasoning. It wasn't just budget constraints mentioned about cold fusion or that Silnafyu at Site Ur with Dr. Error.
Those were mentioned, yes. But the core argument, the real operational insight, was about the containment itself.
They believed the engineering was solid enough.
Essentially, yes. The O5 stance was that as long as the existing protocols, the triple redundant cooling, the strict temperature monitoring, the 0-degree C threshold are rigorously maintained, then containment is stable. Therefore, it remains Euclid. It's a calculated risk based on confidence in the engineering and procedure.
A huge bet on those systems never failing catastrophically. Wow. There was also a note about SCP-3023, an arachnoid thing.
Right. It was confirmed that an entity matching SCP-3023 was present at the retrieval site and seemed involved in the initial incident with the hunters. It suggests SCP-009 might not be an isolated phenomenon. Perhaps it attracts or coexists with other unusual things?
Okay, so to summarize the operational briefing, we understand SCP-009, the red ice. We know its danger lies in its inverted physics and its ability to convert water. Containment absolutely relies on maintaining sub-zero temperatures via those 3 cooling units. The 0-degree C threshold is the absolute fail point. Mission understood.
Right. But this raises an important question for you, digesting this information. We know this substance can assimilate all water. We know a breach near a major water source could trigger an extinction event. We know containment rests on technology cooling units, power grids. So how confident should anyone really be in the long-term, indefinite reliability of that technology against something operating on fundamentally alien principles?
That's the constant pressure, the operational reality. And it leaves us with a final thought. If red ice exists, coming from a place where water freezes when it gets hot, what other fundamental substances could have inverted counterparts? Could there be air that suffocates when cooled? Minerals that destabilize under normal pressure? If one core rule like thermodynamics can be reversed, what else is potentially conditional? Something to consider as you process this briefing.